Thank you so much for coming. We've been waiting a long time to see you in person. Could you please tell us, in your opinion, until what age a woman can have children? I just turned 40 in December, and my husband is turning 47 tomorrow.
It depends on the condition of your body. Sarah gave birth at 90. We know the biblical story. She was over 90, maybe 92, when she gave birth to her only child, Isaac. Yes, her only child, she gave birth at 92, but back then people lived differently. Nowadays, there are many options. You can try IVF. Surrogacy is also an option. You don't even have to carry the child yourself.
It's not about the inability to conceive. My husband is afraid that at our age, we should already be expecting grandchildren, not children.
Do you have children?
Yes. It's just that when I had my first and second daughters, I didn't have this knowledge. I didn't have you in my life, or the Bhagavad Gita.
Do you want a third child with me? What do I have to do with this?
I want your blessing.
You have my full blessing. I don't think you're too old. Actually, you're entering a good period for conception. It will begin in about 6 months. But you need to cleanse your body for the next 6 months. Right now, your energy levels are too low for carrying a pregnancy. If you follow the methods I'll explain, everything should work out well.
I seem to be entering a difficult period as well. My second marriage didn't work out. I tried for a long time, but it didn't succeed. I have 2 kids. What advice can you give me?
I don't know your situation. You've only given a brief overview. What exactly are you asking me?
I just don't know what to do next, or how to work on myself.
Are you asking whether to leave the second one or not?
The second one is already gone.
The second one is already gone?
Yes, I suppose so. The same situation keeps repeating itself. The divorce has already been finalized.
With the second one? What about the first?
The first one is in the past.
What do you mean by the past? Is she waiting for you?
No, absolutely not.
Does she have another husband now?
I don't know. I'm not interested, to be honest.
But do you keep in touch with the kids?
The children are from the second marriage.
2 children from the second marriage, then why divorce? You should have tried to save it.
It wasn't my initiative. My wife was carried away by material things. And we had everything. A house, a car, a stable job. It seemed like life was good.
Then what was the reason for the divorce?
It's hard to pinpoint. There were many reasons, like records playing on repeat, changing one after the other.
How do the children feel about it?
One of them is still very young. He's 3 years old, so he doesn't fully understand. But of course he wants mom and dad to be together. He doesn't get it yet, but says so directly. He's the one I feel most sorry for. The older one is 13 and lives with me, while the younger one stays with his mom.
So the older one is with you? The family has split in 2?
One without a mother, the other without a father.
I don't see that your family fell apart entirely because of her. She's currently going through a bad period. It will end in 3.5 months, and her perception of the world will start to change. In my opinion, you shouldn't put an end to this relationship right now. You need to wait. If you finalize things now, you'll be at fault, and you will definitely face consequences for it. A third marriage will be a dead end for you. It will involve very harsh dynamics with a woman who is highly demanding and capricious. You'll love her deeply, but she'll drive you to exhaustion. You need to wait. Your wife, about 6 months ago, entered a very challenging phase. She started accumulating a lot of static tension. She became very sensitive, easily upset, irritated by everything. It's been a tough time for her. This bad period will end in 3 months. She'll start thinking more rationally.
I prayed to hear God through you and to understand.
Has she listened to my lectures?
No, you're a stranger to her.
Well, right now is a good time for her. She's going through a period of reevaluation. She won't be able to find anyone else right now. It's simply impossible for her. She will remain alone. The earliest someone might appear for her is in 1 year and 3 months, but by that time she'll have reconsidered her decisions 10 times over. Women, when they make certain decisions, often believe they'll easily meet someone else. They feel confident, they're beautiful, and they think everything will work out perfectly. But in reality, families are built for women. When a woman destroys a family, God punishes her harshly with loneliness. She ends up living aimlessly. For a woman, breaking up a family is incredibly dangerous. There are countless examples of women being left alone for years after such decisions. That's why, if you want to save your family, it's a noble and proper decision. Don't get caught up in this love, drama, and chaos illusion. It's a trap that ends very harshly. You've seen this in your second marriage, how she began acting harshly toward you after some time. You've already walked that path. If you want to experiment again, it will only get worse, so it's better to stop at the second marriage and see it through. If she doesn't return to you, God will forgive you. But if she doesn't come back within 1 year and 1 month, that's it. You won't get her back after that.
Understood. Should I try something? Make any efforts?
Show kindness, of course, kindness, goodwill. You can even care for her, especially if she's accepting financial support from you.
Yes, she does accept it.
When a woman accepts money, she can't detach herself from the person. If a man is paying for her life, she won't marry anyone else. She can't find someone else because financial support ties her to the person. So if you're paying for her life, then she's still connected to you.
What about her personality? Is she capable of change? Is it even possible, or will she always be the same?
Well, you need to understand that personality alone doesn't determine the situation. All women have intense personalities. It's the same for everyone. All of them, it's the same. The difference is some women want relationships and some don't. If she wants a relationship, she'll find a way to soften her personality, to act more carefully. But if she doesn't, she'll show her personality and make things harsh. She'll be demanding and will ruin the relationship. She's shown her personality outright, and of course it's been very difficult for you to live with her over the past year and a half.
Absolutely brutal.
Yes, but right now she's going to hit a wall. Treat her kindly, but don't make it obvious that you're losing your mind without her. Just show care and kindness without overdoing it. Watch and observe. Good doesn't seek better. Over the next 6 months, she'll start reevaluating her decisions, thinking deeply about how to proceed with her life.
Understood, thank you.
All right, the lady in glasses, yes?
Thank you for the opportunity to ask my question. I'd like to ask about personal relationships. How do I meet my true love? I've been living here in Yekaterinburg for 10 years.
It's not about meeting love. You need to sweep men off their feet, sweep them off their feet. You need to take a strong, confident position as a woman, a powerful one. Be very gentle in your behavior, kind, socially active, love people, and smile at everyone. There's no other way, but it's also important for you to know. It's best if someone introduces you to a potential partner. Is there anyone here who loves introducing women to others?
I do.
Then go introduce yourself to her.
I want to ask for your blessing to start a matchmaking agency.
All right, let me throw another tangerine since I missed the first time. There you go. Yes, go talk to her afterward, get acquainted. There are women who absolutely love introducing people. My wife is constantly dreaming of pairing people up. She's always doing horoscopes and matchmaking. Some women are just passionate about connecting others. They absolutely love it. You need to find someone like that. You have a modest personality.
I also think it might be because I moved from another city.
Where from?
Kurgan. My sister also moved here with me.
My wife is from Kurgan too.
We're wondering if we should move back. Maybe things would go better for us there. Career-wise, I mean.
Do you like it there better?
That's where our parents are.
For you, it's the same, here or there. But living here seems harder for you. Maybe you should move back. You could both move back together. It doesn't make much difference, but life might feel easier for you in Kurgan.
For me?
Yes, it seems harder for you to live here. Do you have a family?
Yes, I have a husband and 2 children.
Did you move here with your husband?
I moved because of my husband. He works here.
Then stay here for now. You shouldn't move away from your husband. That's not an option. You must live with your husband. Never leave your husband alone. Because someone else might find him. Right now, you're in a good period for marriage. It's a favorable time. You just need to be happy and maintain a strong position.
Thank you very much.
A strong position is essential for a woman. She needs to be brave. You might think, why isn't anyone proposing to me? You've got to knock them off their feet.
Can I become brave?
You're already brave enough. You're doing just fine. You need to kill a man with your gaze. With love, joy, your gaze must be strong.
What if they're afraid?
It doesn't matter. They won't go anywhere. They may be scared, they may whine, but they'll still come around. Everything will be fine. Got it? Be gentle and kind, but internally strong.
What if the wrong ones approach?
The wrong ones? Who exactly are you looking for?
When I go to a tire shop, they're not Russian.
And who do you need then?
At the store, people of different nationalities approach me.
That's fine. It's all good. You need a brave man, a real warrior. It means you'll have someone to tame. You understand? You won't end up alone. Everything will be fine. Go ahead. Everything will work out. Here, catch the mandarin. That's it. This girl will bring you luck.
She's already here.
She'll bring you luck. I can see that. You, sir.
Thank you for giving me the chance to ask a question. I've been listening to your lectures for nearly 4 years now. I destroyed my family. You could say I ruined my life, and I did so with particular cynicism. To put it briefly, when I got married, my wife loved me deeply. But I didn't feel anything for her, and I didn't want anything. I thought I'd wait for her to fall in love with someone else, and then we'd divorce. But I had to wait over 20 years. I want to understand how severely I'm being punished.
Are you divorced?
It's in progress.
Have you met anyone else?
No, I haven't. Honestly, I'm not even trying to.
How many children?
2 kids. One is 10 years old.
She became disillusioned with you about a year ago. You must have done something.
No, it was earlier. Since 2019, we've basically shifted into a transactional relationship.
It's pretty severe, isn't it? She's firmly set in her disappointment, deeply disillusioned with you.
Not surprising.
Maybe you should start treating her kindly.
I don't feel any aggression toward her, but there's no warmth either.
What warmth are you expecting? Are you looking for love?
No, I'm turning 50 soon, and I'd just like to live the rest of my life decently, with a clear conscience, you could say.
Decently? A new woman means new problems.
I don't doubt that for a second.
They all have their character. It'll take years to adjust, and after that, who knows how things will turn out. From the outside, she might seem great, but what lies ahead is unclear. It's all very complicated.
Dr. Torsunov, you said women are punished with loneliness for destroying a marriage. What about men?
Men are punished with a fiery, passionate love. The kind of love that becomes too intense for the woman, and she leaves. Then the man suffers.
And if the man is ready for suffering? I'm very patient.
The fire has already started burning in your heart. You're craving a fiery, passionate love. It all depends on her. Does she want the divorce, or do you?
She says, let's finalize it quickly. Can I approach you after the lecture?
Yes, you can. Let her proceed with the divorce herself. If she says, let's finalize it quickly, then let her take the lead. Why should you bear the sin of destroying the family?
But I kind of initiated it first, saying, let's just end it already.
You've already set foot on the path of fiery love and the Brazilian soap opera drama. Do you want to continue down this path? Your relationship is very complicated. I don't know what to tell you right now. I think it's best for you to focus on praying to God and self-improvement. Don't even think about your personal life for now. Your situation is too risky. If you meet someone within the year, there will be fiery passion. What you're seeking will begin, but it will turn into a very challenging situation for you. You'll end up suffering from that relationship.
I started going to the temple.
That's what you need to focus on right now, spiritual practice. It's good that you're here at the lecture today. Keep doing this. You can't live with this woman anymore. Fate has already separated you. There's no possibility of being together, but you should let her make her own decisions. You don't need to initiate anything. If she chooses to stay, you'll focus more on God. If she decides to leave, it will be a huge problem for her. It will also be a big problem for you.
What kind of problem?
My dear, please don't. I had a period like this in my life about 17, 19 years ago. My prayer was, Lord, please give me more problems so that I may always remember you. I prayed like that for half a year. He thought about it and granted my request. For a year and a half, I was in extreme stress, in a very harsh situation. That's when I realized such words should not be spoken. You can't even imagine what can happen. Don't do it. Protect your life. You must not boast before God, especially in such a difficult situation for you. You're caught in the trap of fate right now. No matter what you choose, staying with her or separating, it will be hard. You have to choose the lesser evil where you don't commit a sin. That's why you shouldn't initiate the divorce. If she wants it, let her be the one to do it. If you initiate the divorce, it will be worse for you. If she later decides to stay, it will make things even harder. Don't make it worse for yourself. Take the path with the least losses, but know this. If you fall deeply in love with another woman, keeping that relationship will be very challenging. After 2.5 to 3 years, she will leave you harshly. You will suffer. This is already written in your fate. All of it is already there. Whether you save your current relationship or not is uncertain. It doesn't even fully depend on you. If God decides to preserve it, she will eventually emotionally withdraw and want you to leave her. You'll receive everything back, do you understand? Therefore, be careful.
Thank you.
Fate is already in motion. It's already underway. Your heart is burning now. Someone is approaching you. This is not the most pleasant path in life based on what I see now. You should have valued this woman earlier, made her happy, and loved her yourself. When you serve someone, love grows. If you emotionally withdraw, love will not come.
But by the time these processes you're describing began, it was already too late. I was too late with this.
Well, she's deeply disappointed in you now, and at this point the relationship cannot be mended. It's pointless. Let her decide for herself. Don't make the decision.
Thank you.
Men always do things their own way. I say something and the man does it differently, gets burned, and then says, Dr. Torsunov was right. All right, my dears, I'll start the lecture now since everyone has gathered. After the lecture, you can also ask questions that will be in the foyer. So today we have an interesting topic. Yesterday, I explained that there are 3 layers of life: spiritual, social, and psychophysical. Fate impacts all of them. The psychophysical layer is the foundation of life. We have a subtle energy body. It's like an island. This energy body is nourished by the energy of nature. Most people are undernourished in this sense. Ideally, a person should live in nature, but we all live in houses. If there's no open sky above our heads, the energy of nature practically doesn't enter the body. So people live as they can, surviving. Gradually, overall energy levels decrease. Then blocks and energy voids form in our subtle energy body. This creates a lack of energy in internal organs and in relationships. The subtle energy body is a structure that distributes energy everywhere. It's needed for personal life, work, and health. These are the 3 main directions in which the subtle body sends energy. First, it directs energy to health. If health is in good condition, then energy flows to personal life and work. So it's important to understand that by taking care of your health, you'll also have more energy for your personal life when your health improves. Modern culture and contemporary medicine know nothing about the subtle energy body. My discussions on this topic might sound like the ramblings of a drunken schizophrenic. Some people, when they hear my lectures for the first time, think, why are they sitting here listening? Can't they see something is off with this guy? He's saying such strange things. That's because no one knows anything about this. This knowledge hasn't been developed or explored. A cardiac surgeon once studied borderline states, cases where people entered clinical death but survived. He set up all his equipment to monitor these moments and observe what happened. Approximately 30% of people who came back from clinical death reported seeing themselves from above during the time when their electroencephalogram and cardiogram showed flat lines. Essentially, at the moment when it appeared the person had died, they saw themselves from above. The doctor explained this phenomenon as a psychic phantom that remains after the body dies and continues to exist for some time. But since he didn't have the data to explain what happens next to this psychic mass, his explanation was incomplete. You can read Life After Life by Raymond Moody. In this book, he conducted extensive research on these experiences. But understand that my studies do not rely on modern medicine or contemporary medical findings. I've been studying ancient medicine for many years. In Chinese medicine, Tibetan medicine, and Indian medicine, the concept of the subtle energy body is well established. The subtle energy body has 3 components. The first is the psychic island, which is called manas in Sanskrit. I'll use Sanskrit terms to explain. Within manas resides fate, our thoughts, and it serves as the foundation. It never dies. As long as the soul remains in the material world. In the universe we live in, each soul is granted one subtle energy body. If the soul, for some reason, moves to another universe, it will acquire a different subtle energy body. The subtle energy body is a necessary shell for living in the material world because the soul itself has a spiritual body. In its spiritual body, the soul also functions as a personality. Some people misunderstand this, thinking, when I die, I'll sit on a cloud like a little angel, and there won't be any life or activity there. As they say, we'll pray for eternal rest. But what rest? For example, my mother-in-law passed away and she continues to exist and function. She was moved to another place and will soon be reborn. There's no rest, just an active life. Praying for eternal rest? What rest? Life continues.
How should we pray correctly?
We'll talk about that tomorrow. Today, I'm focusing on the subtle energy body. This subtle energy body has three components: manas, the mental framework; buddhi, the intelligence; and ahankara, the sense of self-worth. The subtle energy body comprises the mental framework, intelligence, and a sense of self-worth. The sense of self-worth surrounds the soul, residing in the chest. It contains all our sins and is tied to egoism. Purifying self-worth means seeing oneself as a servant of God rather than someone who is here to accumulate things. True purification from sin equates to selflessness. The goal of human life lies in this purification of one's ego. Thus, Jesus Christ said, "My yoke is easy," or in other terms, my ego. Yoke and ego are essentially the same. Easy but because it causes no distress to anyone. My burden is light, which symbolizes the absence of sin. This means that such a personality like Christ is not like us. Our ego creates problems for everyone instead of bringing good. Our burden is heavy because fate weighs upon us. Fate reflects the consequences of our past actions. Within the subtle energy body, there is a kind of energy sphere at the center. This sphere houses the ego. At the core of this sphere is the soul. The layers of this sphere are made of memories from past lives. These layers also contain the energy that acts as fate. Over time, influenced by planetary movements and the passage of time, impulses or karma knots, known as karma vasanas in Sanskrit, arise from the layers of this sphere. These knots stimulate the space surrounding the soul, creating all of our sensations, our moods, thoughts, feelings, and desires. All these are formed around the soul within this energetic sphere, which exists on the subtle plane, like a kind of football-shaped structure. Intelligence is the subtle structure responsible for the process of cognition. Through intelligence, a person can achieve purification of their consciousness. If a person directs their intelligence toward proper things, they can ensure their life becomes sinless, pure, and filled with happiness and enlightenment. Faith exists to help a person develop. Through faith, one purifies oneself of improper desires, and life becomes clean and elevated. This prevents the accumulation of dirt within, which in subsequent lives pulls the soul into lower worlds. There are higher and lower worlds. A soul burdened with too much impurity descends to the lower worlds. Impurity represents wrongful actions and sins. People often express this as feeling a heaviness in the heart. This is the impurity they sense in their energetic space. Most people don't feel this consciously. However, those who work on themselves begin to sense the workload of cleansing their existence and understand how much they need to purify. When a person ascends to the heavens or higher realms, it happens because they have completely cleansed themselves of impurities. In this process, their subtle energy body dissolves and remains in this universe. This subtle energy body distributes itself as blessings or grace to their relatives and friends before dissolving completely, allowing the soul to transition into the spiritual realm where eternal life awaits. In this eternal realm, the soul enjoys everlasting relationships with God, living in boundless love and happiness. We lived there eternally before. The soul experiences two states, wakefulness and sleep, much like cycles. Currently, the soul is in a state of sleep, dwelling in this material space. In the spiritual realm, the soul is awake, experiencing true life. The ultimate goal of human life is to return to this spiritual reality. This is a brief overview of the process, which can be explored much more deeply. What is the subtle energy body? The subtle energy body is a real body, even though we cannot see it. It has its own structure, including energy channels and layers. It is a functional system that supplies energy to the physical body. When I was studying in university, I asked my physiology professor an inconvenient question. What makes blood circulate in the body? He answered, the heart. I followed up, and what makes the heart move? He replied, the nervous system. I pressed further, what drives the nervous system? At that point, he was puzzled and said, what do you mean? The Vedas, however, provide a clear answer. It is prana, the life force or subtle energy present in the air we breathe. It is not the air itself, but the energy within the air. For example, air might be present, but without prana, it lacks vitality. Would you like me to channel prana now? People laugh, but I'm serious. This practice is called pranayama. If one knows how to do it, they can create a refreshing breeze of energy.
Can it be seen?
It's possible to see it, but not for you. Don't be upset. There is air, and then there is prana. Outside there is plenty of prana, but inside here there's hardly any. Prana is essential for life. There are specific breathing techniques that allow you to absorb prana from your surroundings. You can even pull it in from the outdoors. But to do that, you need to train specifically for it, and it's quite challenging. It's much easier to live outdoors than to focus on this constantly. Still, I can show you something. Raise your hands like this, hold them in this position. Now I will begin drawing in prana so that you can feel it. Do you feel anything yet? Nothing? When I start breathing, you'll feel a gentle breeze moving from me toward you. I have fans on either side of me, but you didn't know that. It's part of the experiment. Do you feel it blowing now?
Yes.
Did you sense it? I exerted some effort, and a wave of prana flowed. That's prana. Do you notice how the air in the hall feels fresher now? Easier to breathe?
Yes.
This isn't just air, it's prana. Air, oxygen, relaxes you, making you feel good. But prana enables thinking, reasoning, and increases mental activity. Aside from prana, there's water energy. That's another type of energy. Water energy can't be generated simply through breathing techniques because it relies on a person's inner calm. Water energy, in essence, represents peace. To put it simply, it's the energy of tranquility. And then there's sun energy, the energy of happiness. When someone is happy, they're full of sun energy. If they're unhappy, it's because they lack sun energy. We absorb sun energy in two ways, through positive thinking and through love. When people love one another, that's sun energy at play. Between men and women, sun energy flows naturally, but it can also flow between people of the same gender. For example, women might show affection, saying, "Oh, my dear," and that's sun energy too. Among men, it's the camaraderie in their cheerful friendships. This energy can circulate between any people regardless of the dynamic. Does the Ural region even have sun energy? Of course, you have the physical sunlight. It's strong and bright in certain places like Sochi. But there's also the subtle, invisible form of sun energy, which people absorb through joy. When you feel joy, you're soaking in sun energy. Fasting is another way to draw it in. When you're hungry but can't eat, your body starts pulling in sun energy instead. Similarly, eating greens helps. Leaves absorb sun energy, then transform it into fruits and plants, which we consume. That's processed sun energy. But you can absorb sun energy directly, just like the leaves do. Fasting helps with this. Sun energy also flows when people share joy with one another. Whether it's between men and women or just among friends, joy is a manifestation of sun energy. In one folk song, they sing about how there's no sun outside, but there are women who shine with their beauty. What does that mean?
That they're beautiful.
Exactly. Women with sun energy are always beautiful. For men, sun energy manifests as joy, but for women, it shows as beauty. So even if there's no sunlight, where does this energy come from? It radiates from women glowing with their beauty. Similarly, when a person sees joyful people, they start feeling joyful themselves. This is how sun energy is exchanged. But if you absorb too much sun energy from women, it builds up like heat inside you. And if you don't release it, it'll overwhelm you. Too much sun energy, and things get uncomfortably hot. So, how do you release this energy? You need to express it through dancing, laughter, or joy, sharing that sun energy with others. What are other ways to share this energy?
By spreading joy and laughter to those around you.
When I arrived in San Francisco, I looked around and said, "Where are the people?" They replied, "In their cars." There's no exchange happening anymore. Our way of life has changed completely. We've become lonely, molded by this culture into solitude. No exchange at all. I still remember when I was about 12, people would constantly play guitars outside, sing in courtyards, and the air was filled with music. Songs like "I'll Walk Down Apricot Street and Turn Onto Grape Street." Music was everywhere. People would stroll around together. There were so many people around. Now everyone sits in this virtual reality. It's horrifying. There's no energy exchange anymore, and people are simply drained. The first stage of a person's mental depletion is exhaustion. Women begin to develop negative feminine traits. They become overly sensitive, easily offended, lazy, and lack willpower. Men exhibit negative masculine traits: anger, overexertion, inability to relax, and stubbornness. The second stage of degradation is energy deficiency. When a woman's subtle energy body becomes depleted, the deeper energy layers, which are naturally harsher in women, are exposed. As a result, women start acting more like men, becoming tough and aggressive. For men, the opposite happens. Their deeper energy layers are softer, so when their subtle energy body is depleted, they start behaving more like women. At this stage, men often develop harmful habits, like drinking alcohol. Alcohol carries feminine energy. Even vodka is feminine energy. Men start consuming this energy and become passive, losing their masculine essence entirely. The third stage of degradation, men and women lose the ability to interact with the opposite gender. If this degradation reaches the level of sexual development, a person may develop a preference for sexual experiences with their own gender because interacting with the opposite gender becomes overwhelming due to their heightened sensitivity. The psyche becomes completely exposed. This all stems from a lack of energy, my friends. This is the reality of our times. There's an even deeper exposure of the psyche where a person can no longer tolerate others. They can't stand being around people at all. This is the fourth stage where someone completely avoids human contact and only interacts with animals. They withdraw entirely, getting pets like dogs or cats and choosing to live with them instead. We're heading towards a future where this becomes common. You understand? Even they, animals, will be fighting for their rights to live on Earth. So humanity is in a trap. We are facing a real crisis in consciousness right now. What is cerebral palsy or autism? These are cases where children are born with an extremely low level of energy, coupled with rigid blockages that prevent their psyche from functioning normally. These children exist in a state of extreme tension as a result. There needs to be a methodology to restore energy exchange with nature. This recovery process is slow because it requires time to gradually rebuild the body's energy. For example, if someone has been starving for a long time, their stomach shrinks and becomes tiny. It takes time to gradually expand it again. They can't eat much all at once. When it comes to the subtle energy body, the story is somewhat similar. For example, when I arrived here, walking from the car to the venue without a jacket felt natural to me. It's not that I don't feel cold at all. I simply don't have enough time to get cold. It feels natural because I have a clear, energetic flow, and the air moves through me smoothly. Even a brisk, cold wind doesn't harm my health in any way. People often look at me, puzzled, wondering why I'm walking without a coat. It's because I don't need one for a short 2-minute walk from the car to the hall. Many people, however, can't handle such exposure to the cold. They shiver or huddle up. This indicates their energy system isn't functioning optimally. It's a sign of energetic exhaustion. Or take cold water, for instance. I remember when I was younger, I loved swimming in ice-cold water. It energized me, and I genuinely enjoyed it, but for a time I stopped practicing. Years later, when I was 52 or 53, I realized I needed to get back into it. By then, I couldn't even dip my foot into the ice hole without my muscles cramping. Cramps are a clear sign that your energy system can't process the energy of cold water. I had to start slowly, spending time in moderately cold water to restore my energy flow. Gradually, my system adjusted, and I began to enjoy it again. Recently, I was in Belarus at a spa with a plunge pool. That's about as cold as water can get without freezing. You can't swim in sub-zero temperatures unless it's salt water, which freezes at lower temperatures. When I entered that water, I didn't feel extreme cold, just the constriction of my body and some difficulty breathing due to the rapid energy movement. However, my overall well-being in the water was fine. There weren't any significant challenges or discomfort. But before I worked on this, my body would seize up entirely with cramps. There was no way I could step into such cold water back then. Today we're discussing the subtle energy body and how it is nourished. What is water energy? How does it feel? Water energy comes directly from water. When a person is immersed in water, they absorb its energy. Rain is another source. It's not prana, it's pure water energy. Rain carries water energy. Yet people often fear it. They run for cover as soon as it starts. Similarly, many avoid spending too much time in water, especially if it's cold. When people go to the sea, they wait for warm water. Why do they flock to the ocean? Because it recharges their subtle energy body. Once a year, they visit the beach to soak in the water, enjoy the sun, and breathe fresh air. But this nourishment shouldn't be an annual activity. It's something we need daily. Just as we eat every day, we need to replenish our energy daily. Over time, it becomes second nature. For instance, Eugene said today, "I feel like I'm low on water energy today," so he ran a cold bath and soaked in it. Once you tune in, you recognize the signs of imbalance. But many people don't. Instead, they say, I feel terrible. Maybe I need to see a doctor, or watch TV, or go to the theater. They try everything except what's actually needed. By the time someone reaches a state of decompensation, they may avoid water altogether. If someone fears entering water, it's a clear sign of severe water energy deficiency. Similarly, if someone is afraid of the wind, it means their energy body is in a state of decompensation. They step into fresh air and feel unwell. It's a severe lack of air energy. And if standing in the sun makes someone feel sick, it's a sign their body can't handle solar activity. This reflects a critical lack of sun energy. These are pathological issues. A lack of water energy inevitably leads to inflammatory processes. When the physical body lacks water energy, inflammation begins to manifest. If the subtle energy body lacks water energy, emotional symptoms arise: irritability, anger, heightened sensitivity, and an overly touchy disposition. When air energy is deficient in the physical body, it results in tension, stiffness, constipation, joint discomfort, and an inability to relax. In the subtle energy body, a lack of air energy impacts willpower. People can't push themselves to act, becoming scattered, restless, and powerless. Women experience physical weakness while men lose their strength of will. Overall, such individuals are drained. Their prana is insufficient. A lack of sun energy leads to toxins accumulating in the body. At the physical level, poor digestion results. When deep digestion is impaired, the person gains excess weight. This isn't due to the body storing resources for future use. It's simply because the body can't properly digest food.
Is this a blockage at a specific energy layer?
No, it's not a blockage. Right now, we're discussing general energy deficiencies, not blockages. A blockage happens when energy can't move through a particular area. This is about an overall shortage. For example, if a glass has no water, that's a general lack of water. But if there's an obstacle stopping the water from flowing, that's a blockage. Here, the problem is an overall lack of water in the glass. Our glass is the subtle energy body, and it's running low on water. That's what we're discussing: a general deficiency of sun, water, and air energy. This is the kind of process I'm describing. A lack of sun energy immediately disrupts digestion. Sun energy is what drives digestion. When it's insufficient, the body accumulates excess weight. Excess weight consists of absorbed toxins. There are unabsorbed toxins, which cause allergies, skin conditions, and colds. And then there are absorbed toxins. This is fat. Why does the body absorb toxins? Because it thinks, I can't have all these toxins floating around inside, I need to store them somewhere. Fat is essentially incompletely digested food. The digestive cycle can't finish properly due to insufficient energy in the body, resulting in fat accumulation. The first stage is fat accumulation. The second stage is benign tumors. Toxins begin to affect the subtle energy body more severely. A lack of solar energy becomes catastrophic, creating voids or empty zones. When these voids of sun energy form, benign tumors develop in those areas. If the void grows larger, it attracts a malignant entity. This is how malignant tumors form. A benign tumor means that a harmful entity hasn't yet entered the body. It has only sent its energy into that area. As a result, the tumor grows because another being is influencing you, beginning to live within you, because, as the saying goes, nature abhors a vacuum. If you don't fill the void yourself, another being will fill it. It starts with a benign tumor, then progresses to a malignant one. At this stage, the soul of a harmful entity, along with its subtle energy body, enters your body, begins to live there, reproduce, and destroy your life. That's what a malignant tumor is. In nature, there are phenomena where one creature enters another's body and lives there, reproducing and developing. We have such examples too. For instance, echinococci in the liver, they multiply there as well. However, what we're discussing now is happening on the subtle energy level, not the physical one. A living being enters us on the subtle plane, due to a lack of sun energy. Yet doctors claim that too much sun is harmful. Imagine that. Or they say fresh air is harmful, being in water is harmful. Apparently, being in the ground is not harmful. You lie down on the ground, fold your hands, light a candle, close your eyes, and wait. That's not harmful. A person has 5 energy layers of the subtle energy body. These are my studies. How can I prove this? I can show it to you through your own experience. For example, when I run or walk, I can observe how these layers are being cleansed, both in myself and in others. I've developed programs that allow people to measure the cleansing process and its speed. If someone has blockages in a specific energy layer, they'll physically feel tension while running, walking, or even standing still. For instance, if I say, you have a static blockage in your third layer, standing for 13 minutes will cleanse one layer. After 26 minutes, you'll start feeling tension in your body. A person can physically sense this blockage. So everything I'm saying isn't some mild form of delusion. It's research conducted on the subtle energy level. Essentially, I'm a scientist of the subtle energy body. I study this not just in terms of energy, but also in terms of life periods. I can determine what kinds of relationships people have. It's all about energy, you understand? You have energy threads connecting you to others, and I can identify these connections, even if you don't tell me anything. For example, you, yes, the young lady wearing glasses in the third row. Right now, you have a connection with someone, a thread, that is causing you despair in this relationship. You feel deep despair and a strong sense of injustice. Isn't that so? Where do you think I got that from? You don't know? I can see this thread of connection. I see the person involved, and this connection is draining your energy. It's depleting you. That's not right. So there are 5 energy layers of the subtle energy body. Now you'll have to take this on faith for now. Just hear me out, as I've been studying this for many years. There are 5 energy layers. The outermost layer is what connects us to the world around us. When someone's outer layer is suffering, their connection with the city they live in suffers too. This can also affect their relationships with people. They may struggle to motivate themselves to engage in activities or participate in their environment. This indicates that their first energy layer is affected. People may experience climate-related issues. For instance, when the weather changes or air pressure rises, they immediately feel unwell. The first energy layer is responsible for our interaction with the city, nature, people, and everything around us. If this layer develops blockages, it becomes difficult for a person to interact, and they may feel disoriented or maladjusted. If they move to a new place, they might experience severe acclimatization issues, feeling unwell right away. The second energy layer goes deeper. It's like a set of nesting dolls. The first layer is the outermost, then the second is deeper inside, and so on, layer by layer, like 5 nested dolls. The outer doll represents the first layer, and the innermost, the smallest doll, represents the deepest one. There are 5 layers in total, like these nesting dolls. The second layer governs a person's emotions, how they react. Doctor, I'm in such a state that little crocodiles keep flying out of me. Why are you throwing them at me? Reactions. Emotions belong to the second subtle energy layer. There are different types of emotions. Tense, sensitive, and negative emotions represent 3 distinct energies. A lack of air energy, prana, results in tense emotions. It's as if the person hasn't slept for 5 days. With tense emotions, they can't respond appropriately or feel joy. Someone might say, that was a joke, and they'd reply, oh, am I supposed to smile now? Their mental state is tight and they can't react properly. Or they react much later. Everyone else has finished laughing and only then does it dawn on them. These are suppressed emotions, rooted in the second energy layer. When emotions are sensitive, the person reacts to everything, behaving overly sensitive. And when emotions are negative, it's all about everything's bad. In this case, their reaction is negative. I don't like it. Emotions are connected. On a subtle level, the second layer begins to interact with a person's health. The second layer is linked to the skin and mucous membranes. What are mucous membranes? They include the throat, bronchi, nose, stomach, intestines, reproductive organs, ears, and eyes. All of these are mucous membranes. This second layer is tied to emotions. If someone has skin conditions, it's related to the second layer. Stomach and intestinal issues, that's also the second layer. Constipation, second layer. Sleep disturbances, such as insomnia, are emotional issues tied to the second layer. Skin diseases, second layer. Eye problems, second layer. Colds, second layer. Damage to the second layer leads to emotional problems. So what causes colds? Improper emotional regulation. The second layer is also linked to the lymphatic system, which governs immunity. The third layer goes even deeper. The third layer is connected to thoughts and thinking, how a person reasons and engages in intellectual work. This third layer governs the blood vessels in the body. It also governs the muscles, including the heart muscle. The uterus is also associated with this third layer. Essentially, the entire muscular system belongs to the third layer. It even includes some of the joints. There are large joints, like the hip and shoulder joints, as well as the spine. Those are part of the fourth layer, but all the other joints, elbows, fingers, toes, those are part of the third layer. In other words, mental disturbances can lead to conditions like hypertension. When thoughts are not functioning properly, it can lead to hypertension, damage to blood vessels, and joint problems. Muscle inflammations, those are also linked to the third layer. Conditions related to the uterus or the urethra in men are tied to this layer as well. Miscarriages, incorrect thinking, improper mental processing, that's a cause of miscarriages in women. You understand?
So miscarriages are caused by thoughts?
Yes, by thoughts. As the song goes, my thoughts are my wild steeds.
What does incorrect thinking mean?
Well, it's when a person's thoughts are off. They think poorly. There are 3 variations. First, there are tense thoughts. When someone is, for instance, stressed about work, thinking, I have to get this done, leads to mental overexertion. Second, there are sensitive thoughts. These come with feelings of offense. For example, someone might reflect, that scoundrel, I spent 20 years with her, and now everything is a mess because of her. These are sensitive thoughts. This happens due to a lack of water energy. When thoughts are tense, it's because air energy is depleted. And then there are negative thoughts. The third type, everything's bad. As in the song, the house stands, the lights are on, you can see the distance from the window. So why this sadness? These are negative thoughts.
So melancholy, does that relate to the third layer?
Dwelling on sadness, brooding, chewing over it, that's the third layer. But there's something deeper than thoughts. The fourth energy layer goes even deeper. It involves more profound psychological functions. It's about mood. Mood or mindset. I feel like going to work, or I don't feel like going to work. That's your mindset. Or you might feel in a good mood or a bad mood. Depression resides in the fourth layer. It's when there's no mood at all. The fourth layer is connected to many things. It's tied to the spine, the bones in the body, all the bones. The fourth layer is connected to the tissues of internal organs, such as the thyroid gland, liver, kidneys, spleen, reproductive organs, and mammary glands. Brain tissues and other structural tissues in the body are also governed by the fourth layer. Functional tissues, like those in the lungs, fall under the fourth layer as well. Fat also correlates with the fourth layer, specifically visceral fat around the intestines. Subcutaneous fat, on the other hand, is linked to the third layer. Fat exists only in the third and fourth layers. In the second layer, there are simply toxins, things like atherosclerosis. Fat in the second layer manifests as atherosclerotic plaques. The fifth energy layer, meanwhile, is associated with profound sensations of life. For instance, if someone feels joy in life, that's a sign of a healthy fifth layer. If they feel capable and successful in their endeavors, this is related to the energy of the sun moving well through the fifth layer. If there's a sense of calm and inner peace, it indicates good water energy in the fifth layer. The fifth layer is also responsible for a person's sense of adequacy. Blockages in this layer can lead to schizophrenia and other mental illnesses. All types of mental disorders, harmful habits, and even issues with sexual orientation stem from disruptions in the fifth layer. For example, when I visited America, I studied this. People in same-sex relationships often have a blockage, a deficiency of water energy in the fifth layer. An extreme sensitivity to the opposite sex leads to this result. The fifth energy layer is connected, on a physical level, to the nervous system and hormonal functions. On a subtle level, it is tied to a person's sense of fulfillment. For example, if someone lacks satisfaction in life, it indicates an issue in the fifth layer. If someone feels no desire to live, that's a deficiency of sun energy. If someone constantly feels incapable or that nothing ever works out, that's a blockage in the fifth layer connected to air energy. And if they experience deep despair, that's a lack of water energy in the fifth layer. Despair often leads to alcoholism. When a person is in despair or feels nothing is going right, they might resort to smoking. Disappointment and despair go hand in hand. To learn more on the subject of health and healing of the body, please make sure to read my health guide, available for download on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram page. Thank you very much and see you soon.